baby, now we are two in one. We are two in one. When I'm away, you call on me. I call on you. Make you go miss na come through. Yeah, to pick you. Cause baby, now we are two in one. Yeah, we are two in one. Oh, na 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 na. Eh, na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na. Eh, na 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 na. Yeah, Nicky Wombali says he concentrate. Oh baby girl, you gotta hold on me. Kuku hata kidogo ndani every day. Baby wacha mchezo hebu come my way. See baby, now we are two in one. We are two in one. When I'm away, you call on me. I call on you. Make you go miss na come through.
Welcome to Couple Industries Limited. My name is Edwin Gadondu. I'm the value stream manager. We manufacture and produce products like maize flour, wheat flour, rice, and beverage products. So we have been very instrumental in playing this part as an industry to promote youth employment in vocational training. This concept of dual vocational training, we heard of it in 2019, and from there, from the onset, we've been participating in forums, discussions, and also having an
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning once again. Once again, welcome to day 2 of the National TVET conference. Yep.
It's going to be a great day today.
Yeah.
I just want to give us some few housekeeping rules before we get into the meat of the program.
Sure.
In case you have, I see all of you have come with your lanyards, you can clap for yourself. The instruction was taken seriously. So if your lanyard is color red, I would like to ask you to sit on the white seats because that gives us the liberty of not taking any pictures of you. And if it's not, you can sit anywhere else. In case you require any assistance in interpretation, this section right here is reserved for that. So please sit on this section where this table is from right behind it. So let's allow for them to Kizungu inakataa leo. Let's allow for their comfort. Is that the right word, Mina? Yes. And then also just to let you know that today is day 2. We have so many things to look forward to. And we still remain to be your hosts, Nyawira Gashugi.
And I am Maina Chege. Thank you so much once again. And we appreciate your support yesterday. We had an amazing time, didn't we? Just checking, didn't we? Yes, I can remember someone who I didn't take their question. Today you'll be the first one. How are you, sir? It's good to see you. So once you get the moment for asking questions, you will be the first one that I ask to go by. Thank you so much for the mics and the volumes. Now, very quickly, we would just want to interact a bit with you. And I want to request the tech team to kindly put for us first the Wi-Fi passwords, just in case you forgot it. If you could have the Wi-Fi password app so that at least we can connect, because how we want to interact with you is a bit digital. We want you to help us by at least ensuring that we are there. That's our hashtag, remember, but that's the password there for the Wi-Fi, and the name of the Wi-Fi is TVET Conference. Make sure you're logged in so that at least you can be able to interact with us. Ensure that you're having those particular details. So how do you want to interact with the people?
We're going digital, Maina.
Yes, we have to.
Before we used to fill forms for all these things, but we're doing it a bit different. So please log into the Wi-Fi. We don't want you to use your bundles.
Absolutely.
So use the Wi-Fi. We're going to give you 1 second to join if you haven't yet.
Absolutely.
As we pull up our mentees, so we can have a time of engagement.
But can I tell you, by the look of things, guys already have joined. Do you see they're looking at us?
Yeah.
They're like, Wi-Fi, we got it yesterday. Thank you. Thank you. Especially everybody looking at us. Yes. Now, very quickly, can we have the other slide that shows just the Menti. We want to show the Menti. How do you get in with your phone? You only need to just go to Menti. Actually, no, just type menti.com. It's menti.com. Just type it that way. Tech team, if you could correct that, menti.com. That's how you get in, and that's the code that you will see. Menti.com, and that's the code. Just type the way I'm saying it, menti.com. Menti.com, and then you put the passcode. That would be the passcode 83 something or that, and you'll find the first question that we have asked you to interact with. So actually, maybe tech team, we could go directly to the Menti itself. I'm sure they will be able to see the instruction at the top. So menti.com, and then just interact with us with what we are asking you to do. That should be it. The passcode is 83650761. So you could go directly to the Menti tech team, then we'll be able to just see what people are saying. Yes. I'm sure some of you have already seen the question, what you're being asked. Just try as much as you can to be as active. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I think let's start with the previous question. There's a previous question, tech team. Let's go to the previous question first. Just click backwards. That should be, just go backwards to the first. Yeah, there you go.
We go.
Yes, that introduce yourself using an adjective
and your name.
For example?
Happy Hannah.
Yeah.
So, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for example, yours would be Manid Mina.
Yeah, moneyed miner. Yeah, because God has given me money. Amen.
Yeah,
I should say amen to that, right? So, yeah.
Please put out yours. It's not so serious. Some of you mmekunja uso sana. Please just answer the question. Msikarikikie simu.
Watu yangu wanatufanyisha makazi zingine. But it's okay. Just try. Menti.com.
Yes, and use the code right there.
Use the code 83.
Menti.com.
Yes, just type menti.com. Is it there? Is it not there? Have you done menti.com? I can see people already there.
People are responding really
Let me shout the code. I'll shout the code again. 83650761. That's the code. That's the code. 83650761.
There we go. Thank you.
There you go. Just look at it fast. Look at it there. There it is. That's the code there. Very quickly, if you haven't gotten it, there you go. Let's see. I have already seen responses coming in.
People are serious. I've seen funny ones.
Yeah, let's go to the responses. Tech team, please, if you could give us the responses. There you go. Wow.
So I see somebody who has said that they are diligent Dorothy.
Wow.
Diligent Dorothy.
Yeah, that must be the one that was very diligent yesterday.
Yeah.
You're right?
For sure.
Yeah. Someone is saying, good morning, Kemboi Nelson. Sasa Kemboi.
Kemboi, we're happy that it's a good morning.
Yeah.
But yako inafaa kuwa either.
Haina adjective.
Inafaa kuwa na adjective.
Hey. This is why we laugh at this thing.
There's someone who said she's excited Eva.
Yeah, excited Eva, yeah.
Gracious Grace.
That's very much on point.
Yes.
We wanted an adjective that has a similar letters, starting letter like yours. But anyway, we can just flow with what we're seeing.
Orderly Odera.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Someone has said loud Carol. Carol, see us outside after this.
Hey, she's loud, eh?
She's loud.
We need her services. There's also another one who is aggressive, Lillian.
Oh, okay. Aggressive.
Lillian tuko pamoja. Yeah. Here we need to understand mambo ni matatu. But let's go on. There's John. John, habari yako. Umetuachia tu hapo. John.
Peaceful Clara. Clara ataki mambo.
We have 26 responses. We're waiting for more 28, I think. Just flow down a bit more if we can see some more that are coming in. Oh, Samuel Momanyi. Amesema tu jina yake.
Shine Samira. That's a good one.
Yeah, Joyous Judith.
Yes.
Right.
Rosie Rosa.
Yeah.
Okay. Rosie, that's fine. Confident David, we're happy for you.
Tough Joe.
Ambitious Alex.
Yeah. There's a short Pasha. I don't know. short Pasha. Interesting. It must be the person who was short. But we'll talk about that. Yeah. Faithful Wilfred.
Jubilant Joseph.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's actually jubilated.
He's
already jubilated.
Jubilated Joseph.
Yeah. Combative Frank. Who is that?
Frank.
No.
Anyway, we're safe.
Yeah.
There's assertive Audrey. It's a nice one.
And honest Ellie.
Honest Ellie. Okay.
Yeah, very
Jovial
good.
Justus.
Yeah. Also faithful Wilfred. We need faithful people.
Yes.
You're right. Then there's another one. Interesting. Emmanuel Motomoto.
Hii life ni kujiaminia. Emmanuel Motomoto, we're happy for you.
Yes. Hey, Emmanuel Motomoto. Very well. Yeah. By the way, maybe we should open up the session and say, if you want your adjective to be in Swahili, it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Just for information, Nyawera can as well interpret German and French. So if you want to use that.
No, I can't. It'll sound like something else.
The French was Kikuyu.
The French is Kikuyu.
Oh, sorry, no worries. Yeah. So just flow. Yeah. Grateful, Gertrude.
Hilarious
Excellent,
Humphrey.
Yeah.
Awesome Austin.
Charles says he's humble.
Hey.
Yeah, humble Charles. We also have awesome and Austin, honest Festus. What about that? Joe Juma.
Joe Juma.
I don't know if it's Joy or Joe. Yeah. And
think it
Lucky
was
Felix
Joy.
as well.
We can go to the next question now.
Yeah, loving Lillian.
So-
Thank you. Yeah. Next question, please.
Next
Tech team.
question.
Let's go to the next one.
The next question is...
This is very important as well. What stood out for you yesterday? If you could
Yesterday.
just type in something that stood out for you yesterday, the light bulb moment you had yesterday. It'd be nice to have that, right?
Yes.
Let's see that.
So just a few, like a main idea that stood out.
Yeah.
If you want to list them in order, that's fine, but keep it as brief as possible.
Yeah.
So what stood out for you yesterday?
Yes. Yesterday we had amazing sessions. By the way, even as they're typing in,
Yes.
anything that popped up for you yesterday that you can remember?
I think for me, the journey
Yeah.
of TVET yesterday,
Mhm.
when it was shared by Professor, it was very eye-opening. There are so many things I didn't know.
You're right.
And I learned so much from him yesterday. So I really enjoyed the journey from way back until now.
Yeah.
And I think the myth was that TVET is not new, and he demystified it so well because he shared that it was there a long time ago, and
Yeah.
it was now it's coming back in a different light.
Can I say what stood out for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, just the comparison between Germany and Kenya in terms of numbers and age gap. The average age in Kenya being 19. That was quite like wow. And then number two, that we are churning close to 1 million graduates out into the job market. And then going back to Germany, and they say their average is about 47. Was it 47? Yes, I believe about 47 years old. That means, and then the ambassador said it will be 50 something in the next few. And looking at how we have such a workforce, and we need to think critically on how do we get them into the job market. And that's what we're talking about TVET today.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
Let's
liked
see.
it.
Let's see what are some of the things that we have seen here.
What
There is,
stood out for you yesterday?
Yeah.
Someone has written Nyawira's pink suit, surely.
Wewe.
And you put even a laugh emoji, nione kando. I shall
Wewe.
flag my tailor.
Huyo ni nani?
Someone has also written the
Yes.
history of dual training by Professor.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
was really good. That
exactly
was really
as
good.
what you said. There's also about the importance of industry linkages and what we need to have.
Yes.
Very good, very good. There's also another one that industry-driven training is the way to go. I believe that's what you wanted to say. TVET history, a lot of people with a TVET history and what we've done. If you could scroll down, we have quite a number of people who have done that.
Someone else has said the passion of the CS about industry.
You could tell.
The passion.
The passion.
The passion.
He said
The passion.
finally how many times?
Yeah.
Six
Six
times.
times.
Yeah, because he kept remembering some things to
Yeah.
say. Tech team, please scroll down some more. Annette, if you could
There's
scroll
some
down
more
some more. We have some
responses.
more. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
TVET works. There you go. There you
Mhm.
go. There's something else about the journey as well of TVET, the evolution, change in education sector. And then what else you've seen there?
I'm seeing the Nyayo car. That
The
was a
Nyayo.
big one yesterday.
Yeah. We don't
Yeah.
want
For
it in the
those who
miss,
saw
yeah.
it, we salute you.
You're right.
You can collect pension after this meeting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also something on the synthetic collaboration of TVET players. Very good. Very good as well. Something that really stood out. That the best learning method is imitation and observation.
Yes,
You're
that was
right.
a good discussion
Yeah.
yesterday.
Have you imitated anyone?
Not yet.
Okay.
After this conference, we can have this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, please scroll down. We have a lot of responses, about 64 people here.
Wow.
Let's just pick randomly some.
Having the CS in the building
Yeah,
meant we are on
we are on
pack.
pack with
With-
dual TVET training.
We're on track.
Yes, we are
That's
on
what I think
track.
they meant.
Yes.
We're on track with dual. Yeah. The CS really honoring the invitation was a big thing yesterday.
You're right.
The commitment by our government and its partners to champion for youth skills and sustainability.
Very true. Very true. Scroll some more. I think there's quite a number. We can just pick a few more. There you go. I think I can see some marching skills with certificate.
Yes.
Let's look at the people who do paragraphs. Maybe
Yeah.
they have some deeper
Yeah.
thing. Yeah? Which
Someone
paragraph have
has
you
said the category of academic TVET should embrace
Yes.
CBET training, dual training, and the skill-based training shared by the PS.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Just listen to this one. The roles of different stakeholders in achieving industry-driven skills development for youth employability stood out for them. That's a good one. That's a good one. Maybe can you scroll to the last one? Who is the last one who got in there? Just go. Wow, there was so many responses. And by the way, all these are being recorded, so don't worry. This is going to be feedback as well to the
Yes.
organizers of this. Wow, just post there. There was a big paragraph. Go back a bit. Go back
There.
a bit. Wow. I
The
think
average
so.
population of Germany is 45. Well, the average population is 19.
Of Kenya, yes.
This means that it is important to invest in the youth
Yeah.
with employability skills for self-employment.
You're right. Yeah.
45 and 19.
I know.
Hey.
That's a gap.
Hey.
I mean, that's an opportunity as well,
It
as we
is,
say, that
it
we have an
is.
opportunity to go as well and pack into that. And for those ones who missed, I can see so many people saying, sorry, I missed, you can pick a few things of what stood out yesterday. The fine one could be this one, that industry linkages provide opportunities for jobs, the real-time update on technological changes, innovative ideas in Juakali sector. What is the end product of our training? Still a question as well that we hope today we can answer.
Yes.
You're right.
I love it.
Maybe we need to apologize because a lot of the people in the house are people who have done theses about booklets, serious things, and we are asking them to compress
One
everything,
word.
yes, into a sentence.
Did you hear the questions yesterday?
Which one was
Like when guys are being asked, would you share a question? This is how you
Yeah.
know we're in a room of scholars.
No, you're right.
It's like, first, before I give my question, I want to give my takeout.
That is called the preamble.
I was very impressed. So
Absolutely.
it's going to be very interesting today.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the 103 responses we have had. We have amazing people here. And thank you so much for even making it digitally possible for us to have this. Nyawera, what do we have next now?
Today we have so many panels,
Yes.
Maina, and
Yeah.
some great conversations. But I would like to also lay a lot of emphasis on the fact that that later today we would like to ask you all and encourage you all to go in groups towards the exhibition
Absolutely.
space.
Yeah.
Now, why we want you to go and see it is because there is so much being showcased there. We passed by there with Maina and we were so impressed. And so we don't want it to be a secret. So please tell your neighbor we're going to see the exhibition spaces. Tell them.
Yes.
Tell
just talk
them.
about it.
Tell
Yeah,
them with a sense
exhibition.
of oomph. We have to go and see the exhibition spaces.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, Nyawera, I was there.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at some of the solutions they're giving us, by the
Yes.
way. And at some point, we'll be playing some of these videos for people to see. And just before we get into that particular
Yes.
panel discussion as well, we'll also play a video that just really establishes why we're here and the journey we have taken, but just after we get into that particular session. And before we even get to the panel discussion, it's important to let the people know that one of the first panel will be discussing about CBET in action. I have seen some of the comments here and what we're talking about, adapting to a change in landscape. So we are going to ensure that at least we get to understand what are the milestones we need to achieve so that we can adopt and be able to fit into the current environment and the needs that are there. So should we have the video now, or?
I think we're ready for the video.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
as they're preparing that video, I just wanted to encourage the people who are joining us online. Karibuni sana.
Yes,
Yes,
welcome,
yeah,
welcome. No
absolutely.
distance.
Yeah. And they can give us their feedback as well through the hashtag that we have displayed. It will be displayed by the tech team as well. And yesterday, you noticed the CS as well tweeted when we did a tweet and a selfie and all those kind of things. So don't worry. If the CS himself can tweet.
Je wewe.
Sembuse wewe.
Sembuse.
Sembuse is the word. Yes, if the CS can tweet, this is where you say sema sembuse.
Sembuse wewe.
Sembuse wewe. So please make sure you download that app, the X app. Do that. Interact with the CS as well. Let them know that even on day 2, we are doing this very well.
Yes.
On that note,
Yes,
we said that TVET is a practical place.
correct.
We don't talk about theory and things to be done.
Yes.
Look at how beautiful the people look today. Don't they?
Yes.
Absolutely. That's the reason why we still have to take a selfie
Absolutely.
in a practical
and
way.
you said day 2
Yes.
started.
Yes. If you're seated next to the same person yesterday,
It's a sign for you to move. Yeah. Juu labda hiyo picha haikuenda juu ya your neighbor. So please,
Yes.
find a neighbor with a nice broad smile.
Yes.
If they're not smiling, move, run away. That's not a safe place to
you
be.
don't have to
Why is
change
someone
the
not
same.
smiling?
But if it was the same person, walk to a different one and say, you look better today. Let me
Let's
take
take a
that selfie
selfie.
with you.
Yes.
Yes. And we have said, if the CS himself can take a selfie, sembuse
Wewe.
wewe. So please,
take out your phone,
take that
take a
selfie.
picture.
tech team, please display for us the hashtag so that's what we're going to use. So please do that. Thank you. We like people who are very practical.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Even
much.
there, I'm seeing some pictures are being taken.
You can negotiate with your neighbor. If their phone type, the camera is not as clear as the other one,
Yes.
use the nice one.
Correct.
Okay? Yes, use the
I
nice
see
one.
some people who are not smiling and not taking their pictures because they're scared if their phones are not safe. Please smile.
I know. Yeah. Absolutely. We're also doing it. I think it should be the back. Let's try. Are they taking? Yeah, I can see someone saying, watch anitoe kofia. Yeah, toa. Toa. So that it
Wakuona
looks better.
kabisa.
So it looks better. That's a good one. Yeah.
There we go. Your side.
Nyawera, do you see the people who are not taking, eh?
It's because they're not smiling. You can't take
I
a
think
picture of
mambo ni
someone who is
matatu
not
hapo.
smiling.
Mambo ni matatu. Either simu ni mbaya, kamera ilikufa,
ama anashuku neighbor wake,
ama anashuku mwenzake, ama number 3 hakuwa amesema kwa Nairobi.
I
don't know.
Kwanza hiyo sana sana.
There you
Take
go.
a picture.
Thank you
Make
so
sure
much.
you post, and the hashtag is right there.
TVET
Industry linkages. Please,
it's on the screen
post.
there.
Yes.
Post now. Just say day 2, say something nice, anything that stood out for you. Let the people know this is happening.
Yes.
Yeah, because it is important.
Yeah, yep. Kindly make sure that we post the pictures.
Yes.
We're ready for the video now. I think the selfies are over.
Yes.
Me selfies your video. I see some of you even documenting. Hi, welcome. No. Just a picture.
Yes.
We're ready for the video. We can play the video.
Absolutely. Can we have now the video play so that at least we can let the people know the mileage we have had and what has come across. Tech team, over to you on the video.
Welcome to the day 2 of the National TVET conference right here at KICC Nairobi. And just to bring you up to speed, the need to have an education approach that combines both the theoretical classroom instruction with workplace training took center stage during the day 1 of the conference. And speaking during the official opening ceremony, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Ezekiel Machogu, noted that the dual TVET program is the way to go.
This conference is an opportunity for us to engage, exchange ideas, and share perspectives on how to enhance the relevance of skills and industry. This is the means through which we will enhance the employability of our young people. This conference, therefore, serves as a platform for us to collectively explore and chart the course for the future of TVET in Kenya through a strengthened industry engagement. The ultimate goal is to shape the path towards creating opportunities for our youth and to give them a chance to contribute to the growth and development of our nation and our world.
Important to note is that this dual TVET program is being supported by the German government as well as the Finnish government. And since 2019, the German Development Corporation, or GIZ, has been implementing this program here in the country.
The dual training model combines classroom learning with practical, on-the-job training. And this can really address what many consider the central challenge of the Kenyan TVET system, a perceived mismatch between skills of the workforce and the needs of the employer. And this is why it is so important that the private sector is here with us today. And I do hope that our work can foster close collaboration between our countries and create a genuine, long-lasting partnership at the level of government ministries and agencies, TVET institutions, and once again, I really underline the importance of the private sector.
Whether we like it or not, we must acknowledge the current challenges faced by the TVET sector in delivering employable graduates. Unfortunately, at present, the sector struggles to meet the demands of the labor market. This difficulty primarily arises from the lack of practice-oriented training and inadequate industry engagement. We must recognize the critical role of industry TVET linkages in bridging the gap between education and employment. The labor market demands a skilled workforce that can adapt to emerging technologies and industry needs. By establishing strong connections with industries, we can create training programs that cater to the evolving needs of employers.
So, what should you expect today? Now, we have high-level panel discussions, and you are looking at CBET in action and how to adapt to a changing landscape. Remember, they say that when the music changes, so does the dance. So stand by for that. And in the afternoon, we'll have live demonstrations at the exhibition area, so don't miss out.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate our live correspondent, Elijah. Thank you so much for putting that together. And you have had some of the highlights from the CS and the ambassadors that were here.
Yes.
You're right. So what is next?
I think even before we go next, maybe
Yeah.
just to let all of you know, is that
Yeah.
even as you are here, there's a camera moving around and recording. Please, useke sura ya mawe sana. The video needs to look a bit happy.
Yeah.
So please smile when the camera comes in here. You don't be so tough.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So that everything can happen. Now, Elijah said it so well in the video that we have a conversation today about CBET in action, adapting to a changing landscape. That's an interesting conversation. We would like to ask that we pay attention to this session because after we'll allow for a few questions. And so I would like to invite the moderator who will take charge of this entire session, Mr. Tom Olango, Regional Director of TVET. Let's appreciate him as he comes up.
Makofi tafadhali as he comes. Karibu sana, Bwana Tom, to take us through the session.
Now, to all our esteemed participants, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to this first session where we are going to look at CBET in action and adapting to a changing landscape. Yesterday, we learned a lot, especially as far as the history of TVET is concerned. And we were also enlightened about the Kenya dual TVET and how it died a natural death. Later in the day, we also had an opportunity to interact with the industry, where the industry declared that there will be nothing for them without them. And I think that one actually made us, get to know why it is very important for us to work with the industry if we are to, take the TVET a step further. Today, I want to say that what we are going to do can be described as, a situation where the rubber is now going to meet the road, because we are now going to look at CBET, and with us today are our esteemed experts who are going to shed light on what is it that should be done to ensure that CBET is implemented in a manner and in a way that is supposed to be implemented. The panelists for today are none other than the director of TVET, that is Technical and Vocational Education and Training Authority, represented by Dr. Paul Wanyeki, who is actually the acting director in charge of standards and compliance. Karibu sana. Can we clap for him as he comes forward? Yeah, the next panelist is Dr. Edwin Itarno, who is the chief principal of Kenya School of TVET. And unfortunately, he has not found time to be with us today, but is ably represented by his deputy principal, Madam Joyce Barasa, who is the deputy principal in charge of academics. Karibu, Madam Joyce. Let us clap for her. The other panelist is the CEO of TVET CDAC, actually the body which is centrally concerned with the CBET implementation. And the CEO is none other than Professor Kisilu Kitainge. Karibu, Professor. Let us clap for him. Last but not least, we have the CEO for Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service, Dr. Mercy Waome. Karibu. Can we clap for the panelists properly? Now, to give us a proper perspective of what we are supposed to do during this session is actually Dr. Paul Wanyeki, whom I'm going to invite to come forward so that he can actually set for us the pace. And that is what is going to inform how we are going to discuss as we move forward. Karibu.
Okay, thank you very much. The MC for the introduction. I'll be using presentation for this period. Don't know whether it's up. As you have heard, I'm representing the Director General, TVET Authority. The reason I'm repeating that is because in most instances, people don't take me serious. But at least today, I'm not the person representing Kipkuri, so you should take him serious. Secondly, as we are waiting, in case you see me sweating, it's not because of stage fright. I hope all of you are feeling the warmth in this building. So you please excuse me. So as you have heard, I'm going to set the pace and the stage for our discussion today. And the key word today is CBET in action, but the most important word there is changing. That means we are in a transition space. When you are in a transition space, you are bound to experience a lot of teething problems here and there. However, the teething problem should not deter the kid from growing. So maybe today, most likely we'll be addressing the teething problems that we have faced since we started the implementation of CBET and coming up with the strategies and way forward of forging forward. Seems I did not get instruction clearly. Okay, good. My presentation, I'll look slightly at the policy framework. I'll look at the Presidential Working Party on Education report. I'll touch something on infrastructure, something small. I'll look at the trainers' qualification. For CBET to be successful, we need very good trainers. We also need very good curriculum design and assessment techniques to assess the CBET trainees and graduates. And also, I cannot overemphasize what have been said, the industry linkages, because it's more of training with the industry, in the industry, and we are training for the industry. And lastly, at this era and age, we can't speak about any educational system without digital transformation. Everything is going digital. Under introduction, currently, what is the force behind the change of the curriculum design or the educational system? What is really pushing us is the issue of unemployment. And the statistics are indicating that in 2020, 10.4% of our youths were jobless. That's approximately 5.7 million. And people are asking, why are the youth not attracting jobs? Or why are they not able to generate jobs by themselves? And therefore, it is because of that experts started thinking about, can it be an issue of the curriculum? Can it be an issue of the assessment? Can it be an issue of the industrial linkage? And experts were able to arrive at all the three, that it centers between industry linkage, curriculum, and assessment. And a study was done in countries that are using different curriculum design, and it was found that countries that are using CBET as their curriculum design had lower unemployment rates compared to Kenya. And therefore, there was need to embrace that. Allow me to skip that. Under legal framework, I am from the TVET authority, and the authority is in charge of regulating all the training that takes place in Kenya. Therefore, CBET being a form of training, therefore we are in charge of regulating. And in the process of regulating, we have to accredit the institutions to ensure that they have capacity to offer CBET. We have to approve the curricula to ensure they are good and addressing the needs of the industry. We have to license the trainers to make sure that they have the minimum qualification to be trainers. Still under the policy framework, we regulate the training in the TVET subsector using various standards and guidelines that we have gazetted. We have gazetted over 10 standards and guidelines. However, for this CBET, the ones that are in red are the key in implementation of the CBET. The first there at the top is the trainer's qualification framework. That we have to ensure the people who are handling the trainees in our TVET institutions are qualified. And the qualification framework states the minimum qualification for one to be a trainer, for one to be a curriculum developer, for one to be a TVET assessor, for one to be a verifier, and one to be a monitor and evaluator. All that information is contained in that. We also have a very, very key standard that is called the CBET standard. That is competence-based education and training and assessment standards. All of you who are preparing or developing CBET curriculum, you must use that standard. It's the one that sets the minimum standard for development of a CBET curriculum. It also guides from the process of development of occupational standards, because we know CBET curricular development commences with development of occupational standards. And when you are talking about CBET, you can't talk about CBET in isolation without mentioning recognition of prior learning. And therefore, that's why we have the recognition of prior learning, which guides recognition of skills that have acquired elsewhere without minding where it was acquired from. Because if you are training someone on CBET and someone has prerequisite knowledge on repair of engines and he wants to undertake engine technology, it might be prudent to use RPL and recognize that he has that skill and maybe exempt the trainee from undertaking units that leads to that competence. We also have the CBET assessment tools. We said assessment is key. It guides on the development of assessment tools. We also have the CBET Assessment Center, because assessment have to take place somewhere. So we have to verify and ascertain that the assessment centers are ready to do the assessment. Lastly, we have a very key one, National Polytechnic Standards and Guidelines. This is very important because we know National Polytechnic have a huge mandate. Key among them is to develop curricula. They develop curricula, they assess, they train, they certify. That means before one is loaded with such responsibility, then we have to make sure that the trainers, the facility, the infrastructure, the curricula are ready for such huge mandate. And that's why we have a standard and guideline that guides that process. Technology is refusing to cooperate with me. I think we parted ways somewhere. It's moving at a lower pace. I've already touched on the mandate of the authority. Now I look at the Presidential Working Party Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms recommendations that affect CBET. First, it is for us to be able to implement CBET effectively, we have to ensure all the players that are doing CBET are under one umbrella, so that we know what the left arm is doing, what the right arm is doing, and their key mandate was to bring all the players in TVET under one act, and that is the TVET Act of 2013. Also, as I said, that we need qualified trainers, and trainers, therefore there was need to establish a trainer service council, which was recommended, so that it can manage and address the issue of trainers. And we need to have qualified trainers too, and that's why through the Executive Order number 1 of 2022, KTTC was elevated to KS TVET, so that they can have a broader mandate on training, preparing our trainers, and ensuring that there's continuous professional development of our trainers. And their emphasis was to strengthen TVET linkages with industry and TVET linkages with the university for vertical progression, because our graduates also have ambition to progress vertically in terms of academic and in terms of career. So there's need to enhance that linkage on transition. In terms of infrastructure, this is based on a quality audit that was done by the authority, and it has identified some positives and some areas that we need to improve when it comes to infrastructure. And what was noticeable is that we have a good number of TVET institutions that have industrial-grade training equipment in 1 or 2 areas of specialization. You go to an institution, you find they have a state-of-the-art training equipment or industrial-grade training equipment, either in electrical, mechanical, automotive, civil, or water technology. However, it was also noted that in some few institutions, there was idle capacity of those equipment. So there is need to optimize the utilization of the industrial grade equipment that we have, most likely maybe by strengthening the linkage with the industry, so that industry maybe can come in and we see how we can use the same equipment to do production. Also, in terms of enrollment in TVET, most of the TVET institutions are doing good. However, it was noted that in courses, they were exceeding maximum capacity of enrollment, the approved maximum capacity. Because for CBET to be effective, the class size has also to be good. The trainer to trainee ratio has to meet the standard. I can see some colleagues here that we were with for benchmarking trip in Germany last week. And there the class size, if I lie, they will correct me, a maximum of 16 per student. So when we are talking about aligning to international standards, that is Germany. For us, our standard says for technical subject, a maximum of 25. For business-related and social studies, courses that don't have high practicals, 30 maximum per class. So also there were some cases of inadequate resources that we need to look at for us to effectively mount CBET in some other institution. There are some few areas where obsolete equipment was still being used for training, while currently we are talking about Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. Also, there was need to embrace that. Also, it was noted that there is a big need to embrace the idea of centers of excellence, so that if I come to Nyandarua, where the chief principals come, that the entire of Kenya knows Nyandarua is known for agriculture. That's an example. If someone is in Lokchogio and wants to do agriculture, the first option that comes to mind becomes Nyandarua because you are a center of excellence in Nyandarua. Someone else is a center of excellence in electrical engineering, and you major in that, and there's always benefit in being a center of excellence. I've already addressed the issue of trainers qualification, so I'll not repeat it. About the issue of the ratios in CBET classrooms. And of importance that was also mentioned was that we asked trainers if they have industrial exposure. And most of the trainers indicated that the only time they had industrial exposure is when they were doing their industrial attachment, which was about 2 months to 3 months for those who are lucky. So you see, there's great need also to have a program of having our trainees to have industrial exposure. And this was a recommendation from Presidential Working Party report, where they said that there's need to have a policy on trainers' industrial attachment. That was a recommendation there. When it comes to CBET curricula, CBET curricula is a design and an approach. So it has an advantage that it's a design and an approach. So there's a CBET curricular design, and there's an approach or methodologies or methods of teaching or training CBET. So being a design, for those institutions that have gone through the development of CBET curriculum, we should prepare you in advance that it is a lengthy process, one. So you can't say you are starting CBET in automotive today and tomorrow you are mounting. So you should plan effectively because it's a lengthy process. And two, it's an expensive process because you have had, it involves industrial experts. At minimum, the CBET standard and guidelines guides that you must have at least a panel of 13 to 15 coming from different sectors. It has guided on the sectors that you have to draw your experts from. And also some misconception from the study that was done that CBET is purely about practicals. And that notion has also affected the curriculum designs that are coming out. That is a misconception. CBET, when you define, they'll tell you competence means that you must possess knowledge. The knowledge is academia. That means there must be some theories that you'll be teaching your trainees. You must expose them to some scientific theories and other things. Also, there is the issue of skills. And lastly, attitude. But now, since we are training to the industry, we are talking of attitude as job-related behavior. How you behave, your attitude towards work, employer, customer. So that is the attitude that wants to create. So as you are designing those curricula, ensure it has those three components. It is able to impact knowledge, it is able to impact skills and attitude. We have seen some level 6, that's diploma, curricula in engineering that has no any unit in engineering mathematics because of the idea that it is purely skills, and therefore, so that is a misconception that we would like to. The other slide, I don't need to take you through it, just to show you how lengthy the process is. That is how lengthy the process is, about 14 stages, each taking about 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month for each stage, so you can see it is lengthy. Assessment is also another area. And assessment here is just preparing you as a regulator on the rigor of assessment of competence-based. The assessment of competence-based, one is criterion referenced. Criterion referenced, it means that assessment is done based on a certain standard set by the industry. It's not based on a norm, or a normal group. Here we don't do standardization of marks. It's criterion referenced. That means if it's a standard set by the industry must be present during assessment to witness that the industrial standards are being met. So that is one of the conditions. Secondly, it is evidence-based. It is evidence-based. If I'm supposed to exhibit a skill in wall and floor tiling, I must be able to be given, maybe if I'm not supposed to sketch or draw or design, I should be able to interpret the design and do the wall and floor tiling. That means that assessment alone can take 3 days. Assessment in walling and floor tiling alone can take 3 days because I have to build the wall, I have to do the floor. It is evidence-based. I have to demonstrate I have those skills. Now, suppose you are doing a level 6, which is a diploma in building and construction. And assessment of one skill is about 3 days. That means to assess the entire level, you need about 3 weeks. So that's how assessment is going to change. That's how assessment is going to change. You are talking about the changing environment. That is what we were to discuss today. So I'm just sensitizing you on how the nature of assessment is going to change from paper-based, 2 hours assessment, to an assessment that might take longer and evidence-based. There's also the other concept that is coming in, that is on dual training. Currently, we are preparing the dual training policies, the dual training standard and guideline, and the rest. Just to sensitize is that dual training is not an approach to CBET. It's not an approach. That means dual training is not a methodology. Dual TVET is also a design and an approach. The design is that it must have its own curricula. That is the curricula that will be stating what the institutions will do in training, and a training regulations or curricula that will state what the industry will do and how the assessment will be done. Who will assess what, who will train what, the qualification of the trainers, and the approach is that it takes place in 2 areas, in the TVET institution and in the industry. So as we are also preparing, let us be alive to that it is a design and we should commence the process from developing the 2. Lastly, is on digital transformation. It is becoming increasingly expensive to acquire equipment to train in TVET. By the time you start training, the equipment is obsolete. By the time you finish, it is not required in the market. So there is need to embrace digital skills so that where we can use now the digital application also to train. For example, you can train some elements of welding using virtual reality and augmented reality. You can do some few simulations so that you reduce your expenses on consumables by simulating some few aspects before they go to the lab. You also minimize breakages, because if you start training me through simulation, just like the way they train the pilots, aeroplane pilots, you can't trust a kurutu on the first day in a plane. So you take him or her through a simulator first when he has gained some skills. Otherwise, they will be grounding all the planes on their first day. So with that, thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paul Wanyeki, for that wonderful presentation. And I want to reassure you that indeed you have provided useful information in terms of factors that should be considered for effective CBET implementation. Before I come to the panelists, I would like to inform the participants that the CEO of Kenya National Qualifications Authority, Dr. Alice Kande, sent word that she's on the way, she's coming. And as such, I would like to inform the ushers that once she comes, you usher and allow her to come forward and take part in this panel session. I think at this point in time, I want to come to the panelists, probably if they could sit in a manner that we can afford to see each other. Just do a small curve, Professor and Dr. Waume. Thank you very much. Now, at this point in time, I would like the panelists, first of all, to reflect on the theme of this TVET conference, which, of course, says that enhancing industry-driven skills development for youth employability. And as such, I would like each one of them to do opening remarks. And as they do that, they try to relate the theme of the TVET conference to what their organizations actually do. So I will start with you, Dr. Waume. What is your take about the theme of this conference?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I'm audible enough now. You know, when I got an invitation to this conference, it reminded me of something or an experience I had. In my other life, I love farming a lot. So I remembered one time I got a contract with one of the companies that pack peas, tunaita minji. So I went and got a graduate of agriculture from one of the universities, and I gave them the assignment to be in charge to ensure that we deliver on the contract. So of course the first thing was to do the soil tests and everything that required in terms of preparation. But when it came to planting, we got the manual laborers, and this gentleman was in charge. But he spent a week preparing and marking the land, you know, using the strings and a measuring tape. But we know how minji is planted. You know, women just go and they do this and they put it, and it's a very fast job. So I had to incur quite an expense in terms of just preparation and a lot of markings with sticks all over. You know, and the community was really laughing at what was happening here and asking, are they sure they are planting minji? So we went through a whole week of that. Then we planted. And then after that, the company kept asking, aren't they ready? And this young man was waiting for them to dry. And remember, they are supposed to be canned. So he kept saying, they are not ready, they are not ready. Until I had to make a trip there and found my minjis were just drying up. So the whole of that, about 5 acres, ended up just being seed. And, you know, the rest is history. I had to give up on that contract. So what are we saying? That whatever we are training, there is what the industry expects. And our graduates should be able to deliver and have an idea of what is expected. This gentleman was very good in soil testing, making sure we have the right fertilizers, you know, and was very clear of the required rainfall and the drip system, but had no idea what the company wanted, how it was supposed to be, to look like, but also what the community does in terms of planting minjis and everything. So I'm looking at, you know, what COOPS does as an organization. We place students. And the first thing that we look at when placing these students is, do they even have an interest? They must have an interest. They must have a passion for what they are doing. So A student who's going through the CBET curricula definitely will not make it if they do not have an interest in what they are going to study. From the parents' perspective, they look at the cost, they look at the duration of the course, atamaliza lini, and then the location of the training institutions. But for us, we are encouraging that the interest of that student, because it can be very expensive to try and take through a student through a CBET program, and they have no interest. They will burn their fingers, they will waste a lot of material, and it would be disaster even when they get to industry. I think I stop for now and give my colleagues an opportunity.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Waome. I think let us now hear from Professor, who is also the CEO of TVET CDAC. What is your take? What do you think? Because your organization is at the center of things, and the participants are really anxious to hear what you have to say in terms of, CBET implementation and the fact that there is need to have strong linkages between TVET institutions and the industry.
Thank you, moderator. Let me start by observing all protocols and mention that my name is Kisilu Kitainge, the TVET CDAC CEO, director in charge. And maybe I should clear the air about yesterday that I was adversely mentioned. And I want to clarify that it's not that I don't know, but I was busy solving the problems that the CS was talking about. I know you know the problems, and we are busy solving. I had a council meeting that was addressing the same matters. We are getting to the solutions. I want to appreciate all of you and the theme that we have. And before I analyze the theme, maybe I should say that the only permanent situation that we have in the world today is change. Everything else is not permanent. And I also want to say that for you to enjoy this journey of change, it is important that you start finding joy in the tides and the waves of change. So there is no permanent situation. We are in a changing world, and we need to prepare for a change as we move. I would also want to clarify that I was in the Presidential Working Party on education reforms representing TVET. So the recommendations that we are working on came from our committee, and I'm glad action is taking place. It's very important that we continue the journey. We move together. We are in a reform era, and let's be part of the change that will make Kenya a better place, that will make our youth have hope and look forward to better days in their lives based on the capacities that we are developing as institutions with industry, for industry and for life. With regard to what TVET CDAC is doing, TVET CDAC is about curriculum development. It's about assessment. It's about certification. Curriculum development is the plan for what we hope will facilitate the acquisition of that which is required by the utilization space. So generally, we shall or we need to develop a curriculum that reflects the aspiration, not of today, but of the future and expectations that we need to meet. These expectations are found in industry and also in the future industry. So as we prepare them for today's industry, we should also prepare them for adaptation
for coping, for managing, for reacquisition of the skills that they require in the future. Let me say, it's all about CBET, competence-based education and training. And I know, we all know that we are at 100% CBET. So we are moving towards a goal which is also moving. So we need either to increase our speed, we increase our efficiencies, we increase our targeting so that we may achieve. For CBET to be effective, we need training institutions and industry to find a common ground so that the outcomes that we shall be measuring at CDAC and the evidences that we shall be giving are acceptable at all levels. So it's about continuity, it's about progression, and let us all play our role. The theme of our conference is beautifully crafted. It's about enhancing industry-driven skills, development for the youth employability. We need industry, industry needs us, we are together. So let's facilitate everybody's achievement of their potential, of their capacities, of their abilities within our spaces using the tools, the equipment, the resources that we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for that wonderful highlight. I want to acknowledge the arrival of Dr. Alice Kande, who is the CEO of Kenya National Qualifications Authority. Dr. Feel free and step forward so that you can be part of the team. Thank you. Thank you. Let me also take this opportunity also to acknowledge the presence of the Director of Technical Education, Dr. Mesha Kopura, who has also arrived. Dr. Feel at home. To Dr. Kande, we are aware that we should give you time to, refresh. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. I will quickly ask you to make opening remarks, and you try as much as possible to confine your remarks to the theme of the conference, which talks about enhancing industry-driven skills development for youth employability. And what is your perspective when we talk of, enhancement of industry-driven skills development? What is your perspective? What do you think as Kenya National Qualifications Authority? Is it a good idea or it's not a good idea? Karibu.
Thank you very much, moderator. My apologies, first of all, before I even pass greetings to all of us. I apologize, it's not procedural to really join people on this platform, but thank you so much for allowing me to join you here. I had communicated, I had an earlier formal engagement, and thank you that I would still find time to share our thoughts from KNQA. So good morning once again. My name is Alice Kande. I am the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya National Qualifications Authority. KNQA is an agency under the Ministry of Education, State Department for TVET, but our role basically cuts across from basic to the highest level of education and training, that is doctorate, because our role generally is to ensure that we have harmonizing education and training in this country, and specifically on matters qualifications. For a long time, we know this country has been very passionate about having qualifications that speak to the labor market needs. And so the conversation that we're having this week really rhymes with what exactly we are progressing at the authority, because we want to make sure that all these qualifications that we're getting from any institution that has a mandate to train, assess, award, or even craft a curricula, it is something that speaks to what is relevant. And relevance is not just in the national context, it is also in the global context, because we are such a small village right now, and so we cannot just speak to what is just within the confines of our boundaries. And so from where we sit, we speak matters qualifications. We work with many varied stakeholders. First of all, being the institutions that I've talked about that are mandated to train, assess, and award certificates. And we also have subsector regulators that then work with those institutions. We also have the industry itself, because it has a place to speak to the curricula that will inform the learning that will happen therein to result to the qualification. And when we speak about implementing the Kenya National Qualifications Framework, and that is where the issue of industry-driven skills come in, as a country we have 3 pathways that an individual can take advantage of in terms of climbing and getting certifications. We have what we have always known as the formal academic pathway, that I believe most of us have gone through it with credible qualifications through it. But of course, we also know emerging issues that have come along, and we know there are people who exit from the formal pathway, either willingly or unwillingly. They find themselves in maybe the labor market, and while they're there, they learn something, they acquire a skill, a competence. And the framework, what it does is that it provides those people with an opportunity as well to be assessed and certified and given a certificate that would also be mapped in the framework. And so we also have a pathway that would recognize skills acquired in any other form of learning. We also have the TVET pathway, where we're saying if one is not able to go directly from Form 4 currently to university, we have the TVET pathway. So we are grateful because the country, we're quite open-minded, and that is what leads us to even having this kind of a platform we're having today, because it speaks to all of us, stakeholders who have a critical place to play in shaping our education and trainings, to speak to what we would expect of qualifications, of skills that are relevant today and anticipation of the skills tomorrow. And so our place comes in ensuring that these skills that we want to make visible through the National Qualifications Framework are skills that have the breadth of the industry. They have a breadth of experts in the various sectors. And confidently then we can say that the certificate I have today, if it is mapped at level 6, which is a diploma, I can confidently go with it outside this country and be given, get an opportunity where that certificate is recognized for that learning outcome that I am able to demonstrate. And so we're glad that we're getting out of this closed scenario of just the classroom kind of learning, but appreciating that we have other forms of learning, a way that we can appreciate these skills so that we are able to really, especially addressing our youth, they get opportunities that are really out there for them. So for us, we're grateful to engage in this conversation, and we really look forward to reshaping and embracing the reforms that we've been really talking about in ensuring that we really give people an opportunity for the skills and the competencies that they have to be so relevant, and so that they can take advantage of them, and also the employers can also appreciate that which the individuals take to the labor market. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daktari. Now we come to Madam Joyce Barasa, who is representing the CEO of Kenya School of TVET, Dr. Tarno. And Madam Barasa, when Dr. Wanyeki was doing his presentation, and of course, providing a perspective, you know, he talked about standards. And one of the standards that he cited actually related to trainers. And that one now brings to the fore the fact that the trainers should actually be retooled. And we are aware that one of the functions of the Kenya School of TVET is actually to help in retooling trainers so that they are competent enough in terms of, curriculum delivery for the CBET. From where you sit, and given that you are representing Dr. Tano, what would you say about Kenya School of TVET? And what is the nexus in terms of functions between the Kenya School of TVET and, the implementation of CBET? Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Tom Olang. Good morning, everyone. Kenya School of TVET, I know you know it has been there for a long time, and we have been concentrating on training of trainers for TVET institutions. But our mandate was recently expanded, and now, besides training the TVET trainers, we are also carrying out continuous professional development for all TVET practitioners. And these are very crucial aspects of CBET implementation, because as already pointed out by our first presenter, Dr. Wanyeki, the quality of the trainer is very crucial in the success of any training program. And therefore, Kenya School of TVET sits in a very special place where we are the ones who are preparing the trainers for CBET implementation. As I speak now, we have rolled out a program of CBET delivery methodologies, and we have been able to train 2,575 trainers from the national TVETs. That is about 99.2% of all the national TVETs. They've all been trained on CBET implementation using the learner-centered approaches. And therefore, we know that going forward is going to be easier. I think it has been an issue where there's a time teachers were like, why do you want us to deliver this, this curriculum, and yet we don't know how to do it? So now there will be no such excuse, because already we have them prepared for that. We are continuing to do the same. We are now moving on to the newly upgraded polytechnics, upgraded TVETs to national polytechnics. We have 13 of them. We are soon starting to roll out the same training to them so that they can also have the competencies on how to deliver CBET implementation. So far, that is what Kenya School of TVET is doing.
Thank you very much. But probably you can also shed light that as you do whatever you're doing, how are you involving the industry? How are you involving the private sector? Because that is the $1 million question here. So our trainees, by the time we get our, now this one I'll talk about our in-service trainees. In-service trainees, sorry, not in-service, but pre-service, those who come before they go to the field. So we get our clients either from the universities or from the TVET institutions. They have acquired either certificate or a diploma certificate. So by the time they come to us, our expectation is that they already have the skills, the competencies as per their trade areas. So ours as Kenya School of TVET is to impart the skills of pedagogy. However, we realize that in most cases when they come to us, they don't have all that is required. Most of these trainees are not even able to identify some of the equipment in the workshops. They are not even able to name some of the parts. So we are being forced to go back to train them, to retool them again in their skill area before we are able to train them now on the pedagogical aspects. So there are times when the trainees are requesting us if they can be taken back to the industry for attachment, which now for us becomes very difficult because the time we have does not allow that.
But as an institution, we know that industry linkage is very, very important. And so our trainees, before they finish their pedagogical training, we have to attach them to our industry. And our industry for us is the TVET institutions, because they are going out there to deliver whatever skills we have imparted in them as trainers. So we attach them for one full term for the industry, so that they can be able, by the time now they are being absorbed in the real job market, already they have experienced what there is in the industry. So we are trusting that the universities and the TVET institutions will also play their role by ensuring that the trainees they pass to us are fully qualified with the requisite skills to enable us now to impart the training skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Wanyeki, you have talked about standards and how they are supposed to be met. And of course, it is your duty to ensure, compliance to the standards. We agree to that. But when it comes to CBET implementation, we have the macro CBET structure. And under the macro CBET structure, we talk of the industry. We also talk of the policy wing, and we also talk of the regulator. From where you sit, do you think that these stakeholders have begun walking this journey together? Or there could be lapses? What is your feeling? Are you satisfied that this journey, we have begun it together?
Okay, thank you very much. As I'd mentioned earlier, I come from the TVET Authority. TVET Authority is a body or an agency that was established by the TVET Act, and it started its operation in around 2014. So in brief, in one sentence, our mandate involves regulating training in the country by promoting access, equity, quality, and relevance of training. In terms of the macro environment of CBET implementation, one thing we should appreciate is that CBET is not that very old in the country. So for a start, I can say from where the authority sits is that we are doing well by setting the general and umbrella framework for the implementation of CBET. You look what the policymakers are doing, that's the State Department. They are busy developing the CBET policies and all the other enabling policies that will guide the sector. And equally on our part, we are busy interpreting those policies into standards and guidelines. That's why you see we have been able already to develop various standards and guidelines. They are based on the policies that have already been developed by the policy makers. When it comes to industry, from the theme today, you realize we are having a 360 paradigm shift. The theme is talking about skills development led by the industry. Remember, what has been happening is a skills development led by the TVET. And now we are changing to skills development led by the industry. So there is much need of more sensitization and onboarding the industry so that they can take lead in development or skills development. For example, in the TVET Act, in the formation of the boards of institutions and councils, there is a requirement that the industry must be represented. So it is important that while we are selecting and identifying our boards and councils, to ensure we have strong industrial representation at that level so that we are able to bring or on board the industry and have them buy in this concept of leading skills development. Also, there's industrial attachment. Our trainees proceed to the industry for attachment, and now we are talking about dual vocational education and training, which a good percentage, either 50-50, 30-70, will be taking place in the industry. It has some expense from the industry part. It has some requirement that the industry has to meet. Now we have to onboard and show them the importance of them boarding this train of skills development so that they will spend less in retraining their trainers once they graduate during the induction process. So I can say for now, we are working quite closely in coming up with the same, but it is very important to put more effort, especially now, since we are talking about industry training. It's very important as stakeholders in the TVET sector to think about strongly onboarding the National Chamber of Industry and Commerce in Kenya. Thank you.
Now, yesterday during a session for the industry, they were very categorical. And they said that nothing for them without them. I would like you to react to that statement, but maybe not now. You think through, and you'll give us your feeling, on what should actually be done to ensure that their feeling is captured as we continue to implement CBET. Now, I'll go straight to Dr. Mercy Wahome and ask her, why CBET? Why should we talk of, CBET? According to the sub-theme of this session, we are talking of a changing landscape. It therefore means that we had a previous landscape, and of course there's a present landscape, and probably there'll also be a future landscape for the TVETs. So from where you sit, why do we require CBET? And probably as you give your answer, you try to relate it as much as, to the present landscape, and why is it that it was not there in the previous landscape?
Thank you very much. Like we have seen, not just in the TVET sector, also in the primary basic education, we are having a lot of reforms in the country in terms of how we are engaging learners. So I think in terms of why CBET, we need to move to be able to address contemporary issues. As we impact knowledge, we also need to ensure that this knowledge is helping us solve the actual issues that we are facing as a community. Education is not important if it ends at the knowledge level and does not translate into solving contemporary issues. So for me, that is very important. It has to be relevant, and that's why there has to be a link with industry. If there is no relevance, if a student who comes out of the training cannot address issues that are, the industry wants to deal with. If we are training them, for example, like you say, with equipment that is obsolete, then it is not relevant. So the match between industry and training through CBET therefore becomes very, very important. I think learning has to be interesting, moving from just examining them, how much they can recall. We know the education system has been examining more on recall. And now we are talking of the actual skills, and that's why we heard of the assessment taking 3 days, because It means we are engaging all the senses of the learner, what they can see, what they can hear, what they can smell, being able to touch and actually do it practically, and in some cases even taste if they are in the hospitality industry. So we are seeing a paradigm shift from just recall to actual engagement, which actually makes a human being what they are to be able to be useful in society. There is also the mention that Dr. Wanyeki talked about. In CBET, they learn to work in teams. They learn to engage with industry and learn other skills other than just the core competencies that they need to acquire. The soft skills, getting to work early, on time, how they dress for the particular job that they are doing. So it actually forms a whole person rather than the kind of graduates that we have been churning out who are very well knowledgeable but cannot practice. And I think Madam Baraza brought it out very clearly, where we are having trainers who are not even able to, they're not familiar and they even need to be retrained before they can even handle students. I think for me what is the most important thing is the relevance to the contemporary world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wahome. I want to come to Professor Kisilu Kitainge, who is actually, the main person in terms of, the micro CBET structure. And I will ask him 3 questions in a row, so that we can beat time. 1, what are the challenges facing CBET implementation? That is the first question. 2, how can these challenges be addressed? And 3, do you have specific examples, where CBET has positively impacted on quality, and relevance, especially, in terms of graduates, CBET graduates, meeting the present and future workforce needs? So if you can address yourself to those 3 questions, I think we'll be most grateful.
Thank you, moderator, for the good questions. Thank you, audience, and let me embark on all the questions at once. Why CBET? Challenges, solutions, and examples of quality. To answer all, let me say CBET is for efficiency, utilization of what we have. CBET is for effectiveness, flexibility, individual capacity, and all potential being developed for utilization. So the challenges that we have had or that we may experience going forward could be that much as industry is saying nothing for us without us, the journey towards becoming one, the journey towards participation has not been that fast. Our becoming one, industry appreciating its role in giving us the standards, in giving us the criteria. We still have some work to do there, and I'm glad that we are moving in the positive direction. The second challenge that we may be experiencing could be with regard to perceptions and attitudes. And as we all know, change is resisted majorly, but with appreciation, with training, with explanations, and with seeing that there is need for change, it will work. These attitudes and perceptions are related to the kind of expense we imagine. We forget that we have locally available resources that could be utilized. We forget that it's not about uniformity, it's about that facilitation. The next challenge that we have, I'm trying to move with speed so that I answer all, is about the training of trainers, which has been mentioned. To a greater extent, we have imagined that once you are done with the university, you are done with your training institution, you are ready to go and work, and you'll work until you are done. In our analysis, we also found that we have a challenge of demographics. Majority of our trainers are approaching a particular age where they imagine that retraining may not add value to their current situation. And I wish we all appreciate that even beyond that mandatory required age at the workplace, there is still something you can do. Let us all continue improving ourselves to achieve. The other challenge, and the last one possibly, is about resource availability and utilization. We have resources, but we are not collegial. We have resources, but we are not willing to change. We have resources, but we are not utilizing at 100% capacity. I wish we could borrow from industry that we have 3 shifts, 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. Why do we keep our machines locked in the workshops for 3/4 of that time? What do we achieve? Why do we require neighboring institutions to have replication of tools, equipment, and machines? Can't we plan to utilize them together? So the issue is about holistic approach to training and also appreciating that we all belong to this country, Kenya. With regard to solutions, I've mentioned some, but I'm saying that we shall solve our problems if we engage honestly with each other. We shall solve our problems if we value the life of the trainee more than what we get through the process. How I wish that trainee would be treated like yourself when you are there at that level, so that you train with a passion to make somebody become the best they can become all the time. How I wish we would train knowing that this is my child, and if it is not my child, the child has been placed in my hands the way I place my children in somebody's hands. How I wish we would focus on getting the child to appreciate the strengths they need to develop rather than the weaknesses that they have currently. Examples of quality, we have many. People who have come to our institutions, some have not even completed the whole course, but they have found utilization in industry. I would give a case in point, and I don't know whether you have somebody from the Mombasa, the Technical University of Mombasa. They have a good example of where they trained people in collaboration with the mining industry. And they were only testing the CBET approach, only for the 19 of them to be absorbed in the same industry. They didn't allow them to get out. That is a case we can mention. And I know all institutions, given a chance, they'll give us the good story. The challenges that we've had with regard to TVET CDAC, I want to promise all the stakeholders here that we are solving. And mark this date, by 20th December, whatever challenges you might have had, we shall have gotten a solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I think we are going to mark the date, just as you have put it, and we'll be very, very humbled, of course, if the challenges are addressed. Because of time, I think I'll give the panelists maybe a minute each to say something, because we also want the plenary to ask questions. I'll start with you, Dr. Kande. You know, talking of Kenya National Qualifications Authority without referring to recognition of prior learning, you know, becomes a bit strange. And I think at this point in time, you can come out and tell us how is recognition of prior learning aiding CBET implementation?
Thanks so much, moderator. Once again, a very timely question. It's something to point out to on recognition of prior learning, because that is a concept that rightfully addresses the issue of skills. I did say that the National Qualifications Framework is learning outcome based. It is about what an individual can actually do, so that any certification you give actually speaks to that right skill, attitude, even that value, and most importantly, that demonstrable competence that you can show that you can do it. And so, as you've rightly spoken, recognition of prior learning is, we have it in general definition. It's a concept that embraces that learning happens anytime, anywhere. Even as we are seated here, we are learning. And given an opportunity where you're told to now be assessed on what you have learned today, I am sure you'd be able to really unpack so much. And if that is quantified and you're given a certificate for it, maybe a number of us would get. In other words, we're saying that there's so much learning that happens beyond the classroom. And when I was saying that we have different progression pathways in the framework, I did allude to the lifelong learning part of it that embraces lifelong learning, the path that embraces skills acquisition, development acquisition, and assessment. And as a country, we have now the recognition of prior learning policy. Very soon we shall have it launched as a national document. And our delight is that actually it is embedded in our current education and training context that we already have, because it is not coming to replace our old age and effective formal education and training. We're saying the gap that has not been addressed by formal education and training, we realize as a country we need to leverage those skills that are out there that no one has identified, recognized, and certified them. And so we have those skills now being identified. And we have taken quite good steps, right from having the conversation at policy level. And now we have tools of implementation, doing a lot of sensitizations to institutions that are supposed to implement it at various levels. And most importantly, that the industry has spoken to it. That is the beauty. And so when it comes to implementation, we're saying there's a country and speaking to competence development, then that is a concept that will help us also embrace and progress CBET as a concept in the country. And so putting all that together, all those paradigms that we're seeing are going to reshape our way of framing our qualifications and putting our qualifications in a place where they are quite relevant. Qualifications that are acceptable, they are relevant, they are portable, and they are globally competitive. And so ours is a call to all the stakeholders to embrace this at a position where you are, and let us recognize and equip our youth with the skills and competencies that will help them get jobs that will help them along the way. Thank you so much.
And Dr. Kande, do you have enough industries to take us forward?
I believe we do, or at least I can say we can work with what we have. And my colleague, Professor Kitenge, did say, and he did allude to that about industries. What we need to do is to really do the mapping and look at what sectors are really going to drive our economy. Because essentially, as we're seated here, we know that there's so many people in various sectors, and they have some skill and some competence. But if we do not team up together, if we do not have a structured way in which we have the industries coming to speak, then we shall still be talking about the envisioned implementation of CBET and RPL and other very good concepts. I would say that we have industries in place, but if we have a structured way of really having the probably even sectoral based beginning at that point, and then gradually we will be able to see how they actively engage in right from curriculum development and other phases of education and training, then we shall really be able to appreciate the varied industries that we have. Thank you.
Yes, what sectors are driving our economy? And I think yesterday it came out very clearly that the Juakali sector actually provides 80% of the job opportunities. So it is very important we look for ways of ensuring that we work very closely with the Juakali sector. At this point in time, I'm going to open the floor for questions. And as you ask your question, you address it to a specific panelist, of course, to respond. I can see a hand from the former CEO of TVET SIDAC, Dr. Lawrence Kwantai, over there.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tom, and the presenters for the presentation they have given us. But my interest is somebody known as in-company trainer, whereby you have seen in other countries, those people in the industry, the in-company trainers also come to the training institution to also train our trainers. Next, we have the laboratory technicians, whom I've visited a number of all of you in institutions. Nobody has invited me to train or talk to your lab technicians. I've not earned Madam Balasa talking of capacitating the laboratory technologists. The degrees that I do have, I tell you, Professor Kitainge, you are aware of that. The lab technicians are the people who can deliver, can help us deliver what you are calling dual training. Now the question is, for the TVET, have you developed the standards for the in-company trainers and laboratory technologists and technicians? Do we have them? Then, Professor Kitainge, in the Presidential Working Committee, are you visioning to have even our laboratory technicians also being part of the Trainer Service Council so that they are also recognized, they are paid, they are trained as expected? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Lawrence Kwantai. The principal of Nyandarua National Polytechnic is here.
Thank you so much, our panelists. I think those were quite insightful presentations. My question goes to the regulators, KS TVET, and also TVET SIDAC. Given the historical experiences and the lessons we have learned, and especially with the curriculums we have implemented over time, where a curriculum will take quite long before it is revised to align it to the realities of the industry. And now, given the rapid technological changes happening in the industry and globally, maybe you would share with us what strategy you have in your approach towards skill development in this country. What strategy you have to remain agile, relevant, so that our curriculum can be relevant, adaptable to the industry requirements.
Yes, last question, but I want to be gender sensitive. If you, yes. Deputy Principal, Kisii National Polytechnic. Sorry?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Now I have some 3 questions, but they'll take like half a second each. My question is about equipment which you have in the technical institutions. I was in Kaimosi in around 2019, and it didn't take a very short time to get that equipment from China. That is electrical equipment. Right now, technology has already changed. The equipment is there. Some of it is still as new as it came. It needs now again to be replaced. I mean, how sustainable is, because already that equipment, to get it wasn't easy. Right now, maybe they need another. So as much as also the same case with the curriculum, I think it also goes with the equipment that we have, which is not very cheap. Second question goes to KNQA. I don't know if it's KNQA. Students we're really enrolling students. Every time we're really advertising and getting more and more students. Now, we're also talking of automation of services. For example, we're the industry for KTTC. You are also telling us to go Odell way, so that we are training students, one lecturer could handle 500 students. So where are you expecting to take the products in KTTC if at our level we're also talking of automation, even in industry? The industry is talking of automation to reduce on human resource. Because if there's a work which was being done by 20 people, now when we go to automation, you'll get that we may need to lay out, and that's what has been happening. Remember, we're continuing to enroll in the TVET institutions. Number 3, now KNQA, about upgrading the certificates. If I did something 2 years ago, I was given a certificate, I was certified. Technology has changed. So are we also going to bring back the same people on board so that they keep upgrading and the certificate is still being awarded every other time? Or how are we going to manage that? So that now, another question about KNQA, we have qualifications. I read the newspapers. We just get adverts up to now talking of diploma in this, certificate in this. Are you going to incorporate about CBET level 6, whatever, level whatever in the adverts? Because we are training students who are not seeing that in the job market. The Federation of Kenya Employees, they are not here today, but I needed to ask them whether they have ever heard about level 6, level 3. How are we bringing them on board?
I think, let me stop you there.
No, just the last one to our director. I wanted to ask yesterday, I was not given a chance. To our director, TVET, sir, with all due respect. You told us yesterday to involve our trainees in contracts. If we are doing a building, we need to involve our trainees to take part. These contracts are given to contractors. Contractors are in business. And they are moving with the time because they are paying. Now, when we tell them kindly involve our trainers, we really get a hard time. Most of them are not accepting. Now, the question is, we also feel bad that we are training students in building and electrical, and when we have a building, they are not able to take part. The reason being the procurement laws. We are not able to compete because you'll get somewhere, you need to have this amount of money, you need to do this, to do this. We are not able to compete. Is there anything in the policy that you are doing in the directorate that will favor these TVET institutions? They have a building to do or electrical works that they are favored so that they are given a priority.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, in the interest of time, so that we don't disrupt subsequent programs, I would request that you give the panelists time to respond, and I will require each panelist not to take more than a minute, because taking more than a minute would mean that you are disrupting, subsequent programs. And I think, just as I said, this is where the rubber meets the road, and that is why, as you can see, we have so many questions. But nevertheless, let us make do with whatever is there. Principal, I hope it is not a burning question. Is it burning? Okay, let us hear from him, please. So that I know where he comes from. He comes from very far. And it will be unfair if at all we don't give him chance.
Thank you, Bwana Tom. My name is Rotich, Principal Isamis Technical. My concern, basically to the School of TVET and maybe the other stakeholders. We have been talking so much also on issue of engaging our trainees in the industry. The trainers we have, many of them were trained several years ago with technologies which are even outdated. Taking an example of, say, motor vehicle, we are now talking of VVTIs. They were trained during the carburetor regimes. Is there a program that the School of TVET or any other stakeholder would also have a rollout program, the way we do for our trainees on attachment, to attach our trainers at least once in every 3 years to be able to upgrade themselves to the current technologies? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So back to you, panelists. Just 1 minute. You respond to a question that was addressed to you, and you also make your closing remarks. Dr. Kande. So respond to the questions that were directed to you. You also take advantage of that opportunity also to make your closing remarks.
Thanks so much, moderator, and thank you very much, participants, for very actively following up on that conversation. Directly on the question about upgrading the certificates and all that, yes, the purpose of the framework is really to recognize any form of training, as I said. However, we're even looking at going beyond the traditional certificates we're talking about. We're also currently talking about digital and micro-credentials. And so when the time is ripe, we shall actually ensure that even the framework actually not only speaks to the current certificates and diplomas we're talking about, but also because the employer out there recognizes those micro-credentials, how can we ensure that they're also mapped into the framework? And so that is a discussion we are having, because we also want to ensure that just like the qualifications you're saying must be relevant and speak to the industry, even the framework itself must also be up to date. And like as you rightly talked about diplomas and certificates, and when you will start seeing people talk about level KNQF, level 5 and 6. In fact, right now as you talk about diploma, you should be talking about KNQF level 6, because basically that is what we are implementing. What we're doing right now is very targeted and deliberate awareness creation, so that even the employers themselves, if you're putting out an advert, when you're requiring someone to present a diploma, it is what is actually required in the learning description of level 6 as per the National Qualifications Framework. We already have employers who are up to date on that, and we want to believe as we get people to really embrace the changes that are there, because KNQF is one of the reforms that had been envisaged for a long time, and since it is there, we believe that it will be fully embraced. On our end, we'll make sure that we do a lot of sensitization. In fact, right now, we have a number of employers really bringing their certificates for alignment to the framework. And when we get your request for a certificate to check its credibility, and also to check that it meets the requirement for that level. From our end, we say if it's a diploma, yes, it means it meets the requirement for KNQF level 6. So we are on course with that implementation, and we believe very soon we shall all be onboarded into it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Parting shot?
Yes, let us all take our course. As rightly we have had this discussion the last couple of days, I believe that we shall all take our position in ensuring that we embrace competence development, because I believe we all have what it takes. We have people who are waiting to take advantage of recognition of that competence, or to enable them go through their competence to be appreciated and acknowledged, trained and certified. So let us make sure that we understand our place, and make sure that we implement these policies that we're really having, because they are good for the country, looking at what other developed countries have gone along the way. Germany, Austria, Switzerland, we are in the right path. We will just take our position. We may not rightly just jump to where they are, but I believe we're in rightful position, and very soon we shall see the fruits of this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kande. Dr. Wanyeki, nothing for us without us, plus parting shot.
Okay, thank you. I thought you had forgotten that question, so you caught me offside. Nothing for us without us is a statement that will always come from the industry, because their core business is generating money. And for them to come, there must be value for money. And they can't get value for money if they are not involved. So the idea is to have the industry involved in every step that we are taking. Not only when we have finished developing the curriculum, the student is there already in school, is when you say, oh, we need the industry. It will be led for them. That's why they are saying nothing for us without us. So we need to onboard them at an early stage and show them the value. Quickly on the few questions that they were asked, in-company trainer is a terminology synonymous with dual VET. Dual VET was piloted with the help of GIZ in various institutions. And currently, as we are speaking, we are in the process of doing a dual training standard and guideline, which will guide on incorporation of the in-company trainers. These are trainers who will be taking training responsibility at the industry. It will also guide on the development of the lab technicians. And in terms of obsolete curriculum that was asked by Chief Principal from Nyandarua Technical, is that currently together with TVET CDAC, we are doing a CBET curriculum framework. This will help streamline and guide the periods within which curriculum should be evaluated and reviewed. The obsolete technologies, at least they validated our findings. What we are encouraging institutions is that to use the industrial grade equipment for production. That way, they will be able to generate income and keep updating their technology just like any other industry as new production equipments come to market. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Parting shot?
Parting shot, I'll say that let us embrace the change. Let us enjoy the wave and the tides of change. But to enable us enjoy the change, let us get the policies, let us get the standards, let us get the guidelines, read them so that they guide us as we swim through these waters of change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Joyce Barasa, respond to your questions and make a parting shot.
Thank you. There was an issue about our strategy towards development, towards skill development to remain agile. Curriculum review is very, very crucial, as already pointed out. And fortunately, this aspect has been decentralized. We know that initially curriculum development and review was the work of KICD and of course the work of CDAC. But for all national polytechnics, as well as Kenya School of TVET, we all have the mandate to develop, review our own curricula, to implement, to assess, and to certify. And therefore, we have no excuse to use obsolete curriculum. So let us all look at our curricula and see which one needs revision so that we can be able to revise. As Kenya School of TVET, we already took that initiative. We revised our curriculum for a diploma in technical trainer education. So what we are using now is current and is addressing all that we need to be addressing. There was also an issue about AI, FAB, or there someone was concerned that probably as we move on, we're going to lose jobs. And my response to this is that there is so much that goes on behind the scenes before you have that flexible and blended learning course or program. And all these that happen require the human person to be there to do it. So the fact that we are moving towards AI and towards a lot of flexible and blended approaches in our teaching and learning does not necessarily mean that very soon we shall have teachers outside the classroom or out of job. Then we had an issue that was raised about industry engagement for trainers and what Kenya School of TVET is doing towards that. So Kenya School of TVET in the expanded mandate also has the role of coordinating industrial linkages for TVET institutions. Where we are now, we have begun with ourselves because you cannot reach out to the others before you start with your house. So first of all, we began by looking at the industries within so that we can be able to try and establish linkages with them first. And we are doing that by engaging our own trainers. Our own KSTVET trainers have already been attached to industries. Every holiday we have about seven or so trainers attached to different industries so that they can be able to update their skills. And we are intending to cascade this to the rest of the
sorry for
TVET
interrupting you, but
institutions.
parting shot now. Yeah.
Yes, my parting shot is that CBET is the way to go.
Thank you very much. CBET is the way to go. Dr. Waume.
I think mine is a parting shot. There
Yes.
was no question addressed to me, but I think embracing CBET is a great opportunity to rebrand technical education. When we look at the population, last year we had over 800,000 students who sat for KCSE. This year we have 900,000. And in last year, only 19% made it to the university. So we are saying the people in this room We are the ones responsible for over 80% of the Kenyans who are leaving school every year. So our attitude towards TVET education, and specifically CBET, can make a difference in this country. We are not training for Kenya only, so we shouldn't be worried about, whether they get employment. In fact, the more we can export labor, the better for this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A question was directed to Director of Technical Education on a policy issue, Dr. Mesha Kupura.
I don't know where to stand. Maybe if I sit, you will not see me. Yes, good morning, everybody. Yes, a question was directed about the comment that I had given yesterday, that institutions can attach their trainees in the projects they are doing within the institutions. I want to reflect back.
Please put the mic closer to the...
I want to reflect back on what came out from the recommendation of the Presidential Working Party on education and research on reforms. And one of the recommendations is that infrastructural projects that we have in this country should have a training component for the trainees, so that we can pass the skills to our trainees. Look at what has happened. We had the SGR, which was done, and it was done by people from outside. How many Kenyans went and got the skills there? Look at the roads that are being constructed. We have had foreigners to construct these roads with the technology they have. But how many of the people in this country went there and were trained during those constructions? Looking at that, and we are talking about industry and TVET, and we are talking about our TVET is trainees working in the industry. What now happens to you as a training institution yourself? You have a construction that is going on in your institution. What will be the problem with you that you don't want to attach your students there? Shida ni nini hapo? You want the trainees to be attached to the Chinese companies na wewe yako kwa shule, and you are the one paying. Why don't you put part of a clause in that contract that as I'm giving you this contract, my trainees will also do what? Will work on it. Hiyo ni shida kweli.
Thank you very much. The message is home. I think at this point in time, I'm going to invite Professor Kisilu Kitainge to respond to the questions that were directed to him, and also to do a parting shot. And go ahead and also thank the participants on our behalf. Karibu, Professor.
Professor, just allow me to just cut you short, because we only have about 1.5 minutes for all that. So if you could kindly try and squeeze in. I know you have a dozen of them, but I wish you grace.
Thank you so much. I'll do it in 1 minute. I promise. Question number 1 is about Trainer Service Council. Trainer is a system. It involves the person, trainer, and the system he works with. So everybody should be involved. Second question was on curriculum review. We have embarked on a process of curriculum review. As we develop forward, we are looking at what we developed in 2014, going back. So we need a system that keeps regenerating for improvement. Question number 3 was on trainers and attachment. We put a deliberate recommendation that all trainers must be retrained or must be part of industry. Some councils I know already approved research. I was part of one of such council, and we paid for trainers to go to industry. It's not a recommendation. It is happening. I hope it is happening where you are. Talk to your council. Finally, my parting shot. It's simple. We are the designers of our future. We are designing into the future. Do not wait for anybody else to do it. We are the change agents. Let us do it. It is possible. Finally, I wish to thank all of you for listening to us, and we wish you all the best. Kindly feel free to engage us as we continue the journey, because together we shall manage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Allow us to take this up now. Let's appreciate the panelists one more time. Asanteni sana. In fact, while you're still seated, because where we're going is tea, so you can just be there just for that particular moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to a health break, which is tea, and I've just been asked to ensure two things happen. Number one, Nyawera, your microphone is not with you. So where is it? Because I am helpless without it. Anyway, the point is this. Number one, we are being asked, once we go for tea, let's stick to the tea, because we have the ability to network there. And tea becomes better as you sip slower, as you talk and all that. Let's, as soon as possible, grab the tea. You can even just walk around with it so that at least we're moving faster on that, right?
Yes.
Yes. And I think also I've been told that registration is still happening. If you haven't registered, ensure you do that.
Yes. And I also recognize that there are many people who had some questions that were not answered.
Yeah.
We are going to put up a Menti code when we come back from tea, so that we can be able to drop your questions there. And in the course of this day, we'll create a session where we can have some more questions answered.
Yeah.
There were very many questions.
Absolutely.
Because the panel was very informative. So we'll be using those to answer the questions later. So please, when the Menti is back from tea, we shall answer those. We shall allow you to put those questions up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Twende chai tafadhali.
Yes.
Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Welcome to the day 2 of the National TVET conference right here at KICC Nairobi. And just to bring you up to speed, the need to have an education approach that combines both the theoretical classroom instruction with workplace training took center stage during the day 1 of the conference. And speaking during the official opening ceremony, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Ezekiel Machogu, noted that the dual TVET program is the way to go.
This conference is an opportunity for us to engage, exchange ideas, and share perspectives on how to enhance the relevance of skills and industry. This is the means through which we will enhance the employability of our young people. This conference, therefore, serves as a platform for us to collectively explore and chart the course for the future of TVET in Kenya through a strengthened industry engagement. The ultimate goal is to shape the path towards creating opportunities for our youth and to give them a chance to contribute to the growth and development of our nation and our world.
Important to note is that this dual TVET program is being supported by the German government as well as the Finnish government. And since 2019, the German Development Corporation, or GIZ, has been implementing this program here in the country.
The dual training model combines classroom learning with practical, on-the-job training. And this can really address what many consider the central challenge of the Kenyan TVET system, a perceived mismatch between the skills of the workforce and the needs of the employer. And this is why it is so important that the private sector is here with us today. And I do hope that our work can foster close collaboration between our countries and create a genuine, long-lasting partnership at the level of government ministries and agencies, TVET institutions, and once again, I really underline the importance of the private sector.
Whether we like it or not, we must acknowledge the current challenges faced by the TVET sector in delivering employable graduates. Unfortunately, at present, the sector struggles to meet the demands of the labor market. This difficulty primarily arises from the lack of practice-oriented training and inadequate industry engagement. We must recognize the critical role of industry TVET linkages in bridging the gap between education and employment. The labor market demands a skilled workforce that can adapt to emerging technologies and industry needs. By establishing strong connections with industries, we can create training programs that cater to the evolving needs of employers.
So, what should you expect today? Now we have high-level panel discussions, and you are looking at CBET in action and how to adapt to a changing landscape. Remember, they say that when the music changes, so does the dance. So stand by for that. And in the afternoon, we'll have live demonstrations at the exhibition area, so don't miss out.